most people will know of him because of his role as UN Special Rapporteur for Palestine, which has been hugely controversial and has raised all sorts of issues, which no doubt we'll be able to discuss about free speech. And the latest variant of this has to do with what's known as the Falk-Tilley report, which I hope he's going to tell us something about, but I also hope he's going to tell us something about his book, which is a lovely, beautifully written book of essays that I highly recommend. And
Social Commission for West Asia, Esquad, in UN talk, and it was removed after the American ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, immediately attacked the report, basically by attacking me as the co-author of the report. And it is illustrative of a problematic situation that has arisen in the last 5-6 years, that Israel and its strongest supporters no longer want to argue on the substance of issues relating to their administration of the Palestinian people. They attack the messenger rather than address the message. And our whole intention.
would you like to come back and say anything, or would you rather we wait?
Why don't I wait?
Yeah, okay. I start with Mike Cushman.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Chris. Speaking as an activist in free speech on Israel, which has been organised in the UK to confront the attack on our ability to speak about Palestinian rights by falsely conflating anti-Zionism, which is a proposition to an ideology, with anti-Semitism, which is a crime against humanity. And people are so scared of being indicted as an anti-Semite, which is post the Holocaust, is the most unwelcome label to anyone with any moral sensibility.
I'm going to stop now, and I don't want any more questions of this type, but I will let Richard... Why not? Because I think they illustrate precisely the point that Richard was making. I would have loved it if one of you had said... I would have loved it if one of you had said why you thought Israel is not apartheid. That's very different from accusing Richard, who is himself Jewish, of being an anti-Semite.
Statement, not a question, Mary.
If you will allow somebody to say that,
I will in a minute. I'm first going to
South African, then I'll say it.
Okay, I will allow you to say it in a minute. And first I will ask Richard to come back, and Chris if he wants.
Well, as Mary said, your comment is illustrative of the experience I've had for 6 years as special rapporteur at the UN, where UN Watch in particular devoted its greatest energy to pulling things out of context. That cartoon that you referred to was immediately withdrawn when I realized how it was interpreted. The actual anti-Semitic part of it is virtually invisible to the normal eye.
Specifically relating to the report, it explained the rationale behind the absurdity of having a report commissioned by 18 obviously hostile Arab states, each of which conducts either ethnic cleansing in the case of Sudan, apartheid in most of them because Jews and Christians have been cleared out from so many of these countries, failed states in the case of Syria, Iraq, Yemen and Libya. What was the rationale behind you commissioning a report by 18 Arab states. Why did you not commission a report by European, North American, South American states? Why did you use 18 failed Arab states?
Okay, and then I'm going to take you at the front and the guy and we've got lots of questions, so I'm going to take them all and then I'll let Richard wrap up. And I haven't stopped you.
Thank you. Just a very quick observation, Professor Falk. You wouldn't know, but Harvey Garfield, Sharon Clough and Jonathan Hoffman can usually be found with the English Defence League.
Rubbish!
And Kahan Chai.
Lie! Smear! Lie! That's a slanderous lie!
I've got 3 photographs with Kahan Chai. It's a terrorist organisation.
You will have a lawyer's letter for that!
Thank you.
You will have a lawyer's letter for that! You're a liar!
I'm waiting for him.
You're a stinking liar!
That's going to be smears. No smears. No smears, please, on either side.
Mary, he's a liar!
He's an IRA supporter.
Okay, now I'm going to go right to the back, the guy with the beard. The one behind you.
Pathetic person.
The blue t-shirt. Stand up if you can, because we can't hear you.
Tell a lie big enough and often enough.
I read your report
You're a liar.
CWSA.
A little louder?
I was saying I read your report for the UN, in which you said that there was an apartheid regime within Israel-Palestine. Now, my question to you is, the structure of your argument is about domains. You said there are 4 domains. The question I had is, in one part of your argument, you said that the applicable regime in the occupied territories was the 4th Geneva Convention, and pursuant to this, there was the application of military law on the Palestinian population. But you didn't explain the causal mechanism by which this leads to apartheid under the Rome Statute. In fact, there was very little discussion on that mechanism. You adopted some kind of checklist approach where you said there are superficial comparisons of, there is a X takes place in South Africa, Y takes place in Israel and Palestine, but there wasn't an explanation of how the regime itself was discernible under the Rome Statute. So I was wondering if you could elaborate on that.
Good. Gentleman with the red. I think I've got 2 more. The guy here with the beard.
Two questions. First, the one thing that we didn't hear, Richard, is a working definition of apartheid. As far as I understand, apartheid is a racist system of exploitation. When it comes to Israel, it wants the Palestinian gone, which means that we are dealing really with an Hitlerian system of ethnic cleansing, which is very, very different. So I think that actually it's way worse than worse than the case of apartheid. The other thing that I want to point out, and I think that we're all making a huge mistake here. Zionism was a clear promise to solve the Jewish problem. Zionism in practice didn't solve the Jewish problem, it just moved it to a new place. And as far as we can see, the problem is now back here in America, everywhere. I believe that in order to understand the Palestinian issue, it's about time to accept that by now we are all Palestinians. There is a clear continuum between Gaza, Damascus, Athens, and Detroit. And once we understand that, we can start to identify who are our real oppressors. Then we understand why the Labour Party is fighting anti-Semitism. Then we understand why our freedom, elementary freedoms are jeopardized. I think that these are the clear issues. To put Palestine in a global context. They are just at the forefront of a huge battle.
Spell out who are the real oppressors, Gilad. Spell out who they are.
Yes,
I can do it for you.
Yeah, I know
This-
you can.
the gentleman over
That's
there.
Atzmon.
Shame on you!
Chris Doyle brought up some other things swirling about Professor Falk, so I'll bring one up. Professor Falk, you wrote publicly that you doubted the official account of the 9/11 attacks, for which you've been called a 9/11 conspiracy theorist. It's a serious allegation. Can you address it? And if you are a conspiracy theorist, why should we believe anything you have to say about the Israelis and Palestinians?
The lady here.
2 things. There was one thing I wanted to say to Chris. One of the issues around boycott, divestment and sanctions is that the people who are oppressed ask for it. Now, unlike this lady, I too grew up in apartheid South Africa, and in my view, Israel is worse than apartheid.
Have you been to Israel?
I'm talking to Chris.
Have you been to Israel?
Yes.
Have you been to Jerusalem? Where have you been to?
Please let people speak.
But what I have to say is that the people, the black people of South Africa, asked for boycott, divestment.
From an Israeli perspective of what has gone on, completely failed policy.
How much more extreme than Hamas can you
Cat and
get?
Chai.
You have as little right there to speak as the Israelis have for Palestinian rights. Cat and Chai.
There are £60 tickets
Okay, now listen, please stop everybody, including Ashley,
Yep.
have to finish.
I finished.
And that is an
Because
open
we've only got 10 minutes, and actually we really need to finish. And I thought actually this was going to be outside because we wanted to have some time for Richard to sign some books, in case anybody would like some books.
Where's your flag? Oh, Jonathan! Oh,
Excuse me, please. Would you please put those down? If not, would you please put those down? I'm going to say it 3 times.
The line of protest, some things.
Okay.
It's my property.
To support any conspiracy theory, so it's just a kind of defamatory trick that is used as a way of discrediting someone whose views are not acceptable on other issues. The nature of what is constructive discussion is one of the things I think that this meeting of ours brings out. We do need to hear many views, but we don't need to have obstructive, disruptive tactics.
You endorsed Atzmon's book. You endorsed Atzmon's book. You endorsed Atzmon's book.
It's not all one-way traffic.
You endorsed an anti-Semitic book.
Please, will you sit down?
I can defend and explain my various actions, including the fact that I endorsed that book, which I think is a
Please explain it. We'd like to
book
hear.
to read. You don't have to agree or disagree. What I said and what I believe is that that book was written in a way that challenges a lot of conventional wisdom and deserves to be understood.
With the title called The Wandering Who. The Wandering Who. If
It's a
anybody
racist
is
book.
Semitic, the title is.
It's a racist book.
And you endorsed it.
Raise your religion.
You endorsed it.
Look, we have no time.
Shame on you, Richard Falk.
You endorsed the book called.
Shame on you, Richard Falk.
Excuse me, but I'm going to have to ask you both to leave, and I'll ask you 3 times so we can finish this meeting. Please, will you leave the room?
I don't care what you do.
Please, will you leave the room? And we will continue while they're leaving because we've only got 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, Richard Falk. You need to rethink your policy.
Please.
Shame on you, Richard Falk. Shame on you.
When you've grown up a Jew.
Shame on you.
Shame
on you.
Shut up! Shut up!
Shame on you, Falk.
Shut up!
idea into this broader consideration of how to think about the current state of
Read David, this guy's a Nazi.
Stop! Don't start again, please.
Yeah,
let them speak. Just see.
No, he just said we were expelled from Germany because they misbehaved. Yes.
Excuse me, please. We have 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes.
Gilad Atzmon. We were expelled from Germany because we misbehaved. Okay, well done, Gilad
Listen, everybody, please be quiet for 2 minutes. Please stop.
Please stop.
Stop. Excuse me, stop just for a minute. I just want to say one thing before we finish, which is that I'm deeply ashamed. I just want to say one thing before we finish, which is that I'm deeply ashamed that at the London School of Economics there should be people who come to a meeting of this kind and behave in this way. And it totally illustrates to me how unacceptable this debate, the way that free speech is being closed down, is happening in this country.
BDS closing down. We also condemn BDS closing down Habima and
just stop, because we're finishing.
And Deborah Fink and the Israeli Philharmonic Orchestra.
Could you
Do you condemn that? Do you condemn that unequivocally?
Could you please, first of all, say, can I just finally say that as a Jew, I'm deeply upset that those of us who are Jews, who believe in human rights and who believe in justice for human beings, are being losing our identity because Jewishness is now supposed to be identified with this kind of angry discourse. That's a microphone. This is the only
Guys, we've got time for someone who's got some guitars coming in that
what you should expect.
This issue in a
political condemnation.
You're a Nazi. You're a disgusting
Nancy. My name is Nancy.
When you argue on good, I'm reporting you to the LSE for the formal complaint because you're a disgusting racist.
Why?
You're telling a gentleman to read David Irving?
Yes.
How dare you?
I think that David
telling
Irving,
the Jews that were expelled from Germany
gentlemen,
are
excuse me.
misbehaving?
Excuse David.
fellas, we've got to go out now. We've got to leave. Okay?
I'm an LSE student. I'm an LSE student. Okay, well, you're filing a formal complaint about this absolute disgusting Nazi.
That's good.
Who are you? Sir?
We're not allowed to
Who are you? You neo-Nazi witch! Get out of here! You're a Nazi! Shut up!
The Jews made it up. This didn't happen, right? There wasn't 6 Read whatever you want. The Jews made it up.